has been going on in the second half with the defense? I've noticed the last 7 games in particular, the defense at most has given up 13 points, and that was against Detroit. What are the adjustments that you all are making in the second half of games where I think at this point there's been like 3 points given up to one team, 3 points, 0 points? What are you guys doing in the second half to get the defense essentially pretty stout in the second half of games?
Well, as I've indicated previously, we're adjusting throughout the game, so it's not I'd like to tell you it's a great halftime speech, but it's really not about that. It's just constantly adjusting throughout the game. I think settling in and just playing better, a little more focused, a little more understanding of how, they're trying to attack us, and just better execution.
Let me rephrase it. Is there some way that possibly what we're seeing in the second half, I know that you're saying you're constantly adjusting. Is there some way to get that into the first half of games? Is there anything you're seeing on the film?
Yeah, that's the idea, to get it throughout. Yeah, that's the idea. So, that's the goal. I mean, we go out and we compete and we play hard, and we're trying to be effective from the first series to the last. So, so we're working at it.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jack. It seems like early on in games, opposing teams try to go after Ronald Darby. I was wondering how you think he kind of responds to that challenge, and is there something that opponents are seeing on film that they keep trying?
I think they've got to try and move the ball somehow. I think Darby's played well for us this year, and certainly glad we have him. And we'll just keep going.
Thanks.
Hey, Jack, I'm curious. I've noticed Chase likes to rush from the stand-up position a lot. How much freedom do you give those ends to when they're in that spot, to whether rush up or in a three-point stance?
A little bit of freedom. Don't want to see it all the time. So, I communicate with them, but we want our guys, I talk to them all the time about, we're not in grade school where, we're going to paint by numbers, and we're going to have red in number 1 and yellow in number 2 and green in number 3. And we're going to stay inside the lines. I mean, we want them to, to express themselves and to paint their own, paint their picture. And so, we encourage them to do things and be themselves and express themselves on the field and not be rigid. But certainly there are things we're looking for. And if we go too far one way or the other, I let them know.
And then one of the things that you talked about before the season was communication. And I'm curious how you felt like it has been this year for you with the secondary and the coverage and all that.
Yeah, I think it's improving. It's something we constantly strive for, and I think we have made improvement, and we'll continue to work at it. I mean, it's so important for everybody to understand their responsibility, where they are, and how their teammates can count on them to be where they're supposed to be, so that we can play fast together. And so, communication is at the core of it. It's at the beginning of it. It all starts with communicating the call so that you can then reflect on your assignment and what you've got to get done, and then be able to execute. But clearly, communication is something we work hard on. I think it's improved as the year's gone on, and we'll need to continue to work at it.
We'll go Pete Haley next, and then Nikki.
Because of injuries and performance, there's been a few different combinations of safety. What stands out to you about the DeShazer?
You were cutting up pretty good there. I think you're asking me about different combinations in the secondary.
And then what stood out specifically at safety when it's Cam and DeShazer? I know there's been different pairings there, but what do you like about those?
Yeah, well, what I like is the fact that they haven't blinked. They've been given opportunities to go in and play, and they played well for us. And that's what you count on. And when you in this next man up, type of situation that comes about when you have some injuries, things happen. And so I feel good about the fact that they have done a nice job, playing well within our system, making plays that are asked to be made. And, again, they're at the forefront of the communication part because, it starts with the safety, being able to communicate with the corners and the linebackers. So they've done a nice job for us, obviously a young guy in Cam, he's far exceeded expectations for a late round pick to come in and have as big a contribution as he has. But the biggest thing and why he's been able to play well and do good things is he just goes about doing his job, and he's really matter of fact, about it. He's understands what his assignment is, and he goes out there and competes.
Hi, Jack. With guys like Cam Curl and Cole Holcomb, who clearly don't mind hitting and have an affinity for hitting, how important is that when you're looking at possible free agents and draft prospects? Is that high on the list to find guys who like to hit, and is it something you can teach?
Well, we like to think that we can impact a player's ability to, work with fundamentals and within the things that we teach and stress. But guys either like to hit or they don't, So we like to collect people that run and hit, and certainly I think the two young men that you identified are two guys that like to go after it.
Hey, Jack, Ron the other day when talking about the defense's improvement, particularly with the run defense, said that part of it was just development over the season, but also for some of the guys up front, teaching them some different habits or breaking them of habits that they may have picked up along the way. And I'm just curious, what are some of those habits that you've kind of noticed that you kind of worked with some guys, and how has that coaching development aspect been for you with these guys?
Well, there are certain principles that we believe in that, I talked about on day one, and I talk about it now, and it really won't change. There are things that we believe in terms of defeating blocks and shedding blocks and showing up for your teammates in certain areas, and how they can play fast off of that. I think the biggest thing that we've had happen is that linebackers are beginning to trust what's happening in front of them, and they can go faster to where they belong. The D linemen are trusting now that the linebackers are going to show up there. And then obviously the safety in the secondary is tied to it as well. But when everybody starts playing with more confidence and starts, I talk about building confidence and building trust. And so as we gain in those areas, we should continue to play, better and better on defense. Now, obviously you have challenges every week, right? And they're different challenges. Like, last week, Ben threw the ball 55 times. I don't see the 49ers being that kind of operation. They're going to come and try and pound you, and they run the ball as well as anybody in the league. So, obviously different challenges each week. I think for us, working hard on your preparation and then going out and playing hard for 60 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jack, with a couple of these, you've had 2 weeks now where you've had some pretty good defensive performances on national TV, and now that's kind of gotten some notoriety for this defense, and people are starting to talk it up. As a coach, do you like that? Are you excited that they're getting attention? You guys are getting that attention, or is that a distraction you'd really rather not have? Would you rather kind of be a little more under the radar? Does that matter?
Well, what matters is your performance on game day. So, we're about the preparation, for the next opportunity. It's certainly good to hear good things. That means you're doing some things well. But we know that. I think what we understand is the challenge in front of us this week with the 49ers and the way they run the ball and the way they do things, and some of their playmakers that they have, and just our thoughts right now are about gaining an understanding of what the challenges are in front of us. Not worried so much about what people are saying about what happened in the past. So, we're kind of pushing forward. But certainly, who doesn't like to be praised? I mean, you like to understand that. But I understand. I've been in this league a long time, and I understand that it's about what you do next. That's most important. It's not looking in the rearview mirror.
Thanks.
Hey, Jack. Chase and Montez have talked this season about, pushing each other and trying to make each other better. I wonder, as a coach, how do you see that kind of manifest on the field? Is that one guy stands up or one guy tries a new technique? Or I guess, how do you see them really push each other and see that kind of, translate?
Well, I think it starts with a healthy approach. When Chase Young arrived here, he was humble. He was a hard worker. He was about business. He was about, learning from guys like Ryan Kerrigan that have done it at a high level for a long time in this league. Montez, a younger player, but there's competition in that room. There's no question. And I think those guys kind of feed off each other. I think they challenge each other. I think, they're supportive of each other. So I think it's a really healthy dynamic. And, we work hard at the relationship part, being respectful, but competing and working our butts off. And I think those guys have done a nice job of that.
Has there been any moments either on the, in games or in practices where you see something that one of them do and you go, oh, okay, that, I know where that came from, sort of deal?
Well, there was a play today in practice, which today was Turnover Thursday, Friday edition. But anyway, there was a play today where they were both involved in a turnover. And so, it was on the same play, and one guy's effort contributed to another guy getting the turnover. And, and love to see more of that.